Hi everyone, welcome back to Babylon Irons. It's Sloth and myself again, and we're talking about another link, another homegrown player as well. This time we are looking at Reiss Nelson of Arsenal. Apparently drawing interest from West Ham, and Arsenal are looking for about £20 million in add-ons in which to sell Reiss Nelson. The same Reiss Nelson who was going to be a free agent last season decided to sign a new contract, rumoured to be £100,000 a week. He is signed, and a year later has realised maybe signing for £100,000 a week and not playing football isn't the best thing for my career, and has now said that he wants to look at any deal that comes in this year, and has informed Arsenal to let him know. So, Sloth, what are your initial thoughts on this this link, on Reiss Nelson in general, and even the fact that he kind of apparently rejected us last year when he was on a free transfer to sign for Arsenal? How does this whole situation sit?
It's a bit of a Lingard, isn't it? Like, it's a bit sort of scorned ex-lovers and try to chase them down again. But
love me, please, I can change.
Yeah. Oh, please. I don't know. Look, he's a tremendously talented player, but like many of the other Arsenal Academy talents from the past 10 years or so, he seems to be made of glass. And I think when you factor in that he turned us down last year, it's something that we've said so many times on this channel. And I want players who want to be here. And if you're turning down the chance to come into a football club where you're far more likely to play, and you're doing that, regardless if it's your boyhood club, I massively respect anyone who backs themselves to get into the first team. But I don't think anyone could tell me that logically he was sat there thinking, I'm going to get into this Arsenal first team. I'm going to take this team by the scruff of the neck, earn my place at number one on that left wing spot, and lead us to a title. And I mean that with the greatest respect to Nelson, but at the same time I don't, actually, because I just think it's ridiculous.
I retract everything.
Yeah, I take it back. I just think it's a real issue with how players view their careers. And we've said this about moves to Saudi Arabia, and I've said it on Twitter, where people look at footballers' money and they go, oh yeah, but it can set you up for life. And it's like, if he's already on 50 grand and he gets offered 100 grand, well, maybe it's just my mindset. But if I wasn't playing and I think, well, I want to have a go at my career here, I want to get the best out of the next few years and do something with my time in football, you have to be looking at a move away from Arsenal. And it's the same with Lingard when he did it at Manchester United. Backing yourself to get into the squad and into the first team. Wow, if you can do that, fantastic. But when you look at the squad and all the business that they do on top of it, there's no way you can tell me that realistically he's going to get in that team. And I just think there needs to be a time when people go, I'm going to move away, even if it means I'm going to take 20 grand less, 30 grand less. I'm going to move away for the best of my career, and I'm going to back myself to earn more in the long run, because I'm going to really perform here. And then I'm going to move, and then I'm going to move to Saudi Arabia. Then I'm going to do this. But this mindset of I'm going to stay where I'm comfortable and sign an improved contract because I fill the quota of homegrown that Arsenal need to play in Europe. I think it's one of, they brought this rule in with good intentions, and then I think players aren't realizing that just because you're homegrown and club trained doesn't mean you're going to play.
Yeah.
And if you want to do what's for your career, sometimes you need to move.
Yeah, exactly. And he'll probably say that, oh, he was given assurances or told certain things by Arteta. And I think that was even said at the time that Arteta convinced him that he'd be part of the team. But if you're believing this as a 23-year-old player who, in the previous season, the season you just finished, you have only played around 600 minutes worth of football. Granted, he missed 17 games of that season due to a thigh injury, but still, there's plenty of games over a course of a season when you're in Champions League, etc. Played less than 600 minutes, and the manager is telling you you're really valued. Next year, you're going to be a big part of my team. Bearing in mind, you know they're going to bring in other players. And at 23 years old, you've gone, yeah, you know what? I'm going to take the 100 grand. I'm going to take the easy option, and I'm going to convince myself that what I'm being told is true. When in actual fact, really, you're being used by a manager, and that's not against Arsenal, not necessarily against Arteta, but a manager is going to use a player in that respect because, again, they need the club train. Club train is an important point of, Europa and League and Champions League registration. So, and to have done that when you had other offers and teams that wanted you to play, and you choose really to stay where you're comfortable, I can't believe for a second he genuinely looks at that team and thought he's going to out Saka or he's going to oust Martinelli or anyone else who they bring in. I can't for the life of me believe that he genuinely thought he would do that or be a significant player based on...
There was that period where he came on and he scored a last-minute stunner. I think it was against Bournemouth, and he scored a wonderful goal. And everyone thought, okay, wow, maybe he's going to step up to the plate. And then again, nothing. It's the fact that if these young players want to prove themselves, quite often they need to move away, and it's something that pundits have been saying for years and years. Youngsters need to prove themselves, and to do that, they need to step outside their comfort zone. And look, if you want to sit around and experience what it's like to be in a title run, fair enough. But you did that, and then if you're believing that, you're going to make the difference next season in their title run to win it, then I don't know. I think it's delusions of grandeur, to be honest.
And to the point, last year he played 24 times. So he 24 appearances, scored 1 goal, 2 assists, played 641 minutes. When he has stepped outside of his comfort zone, so when he was at Hoffenheim, went on Hoffenheim at loan early in his career when he showed he promise, it was fantastic. They also did the same with Emil Smith-Rowe, went to Hoffenheim as well, did really well in the Bundesliga. Last time he stepped out of his comfort zone was when he went to Feyenoord in the 21-22 season, played about just under 1,600 minutes. So again, not many minutes really. Was missed 12 games through to injury again. Predominantly played on the right-hand side, but would play on the left. And you just you look at it as well, and again, he's played 33 times, got 4 goals, 7 assists. Most of those goals came when he played on the right-hand side. 3 of the 4 goals he scored was on that side. 6 of the 7 assists he got also came while playing on the right-hand side. So he clearly shows that he has a much greater output when played on the right to when he plays on the left. But also, again, 12 games out for injury. Only played just under 1,600 minutes. And this was over the last 3 seasons. This is the kind of thing that we raised around Calvin Phillips, as to his lack of minutes isn't and totally down to the quality of players. It's also down to the player not being fit enough, either when they're back from injury, they're not having the right kind of physique, mentality, but also that they can't also stay fit. And we may be looking at him as a squad player, but for £20 million plus add-ons, it's just a delusion, in my opinion, that Arsenal believe that they can charge that much for a player who in the last 3 seasons has played less games than most players that we're looking at. I think even Matis Sule, who we're looking at, played more games last season than he's played in the last 3 seasons.
Yeah.
And the rumour is around, I know you're saying Juventus won about 45 million euros, 35 million euros. It differs. But even still, that's maybe at 10 million, 5 million more, let's say, argument's sake, that Juventus want to Arsenal. The reason Arsenal want so much money is because he's homegrown. And that means it's pure profit for them, which is great for their bottom line. And that's why he's been put so much. Really, he's worth £10 million, really at the most 15, if you really want to push it. But he's worth no more than that. And we've been very negative. He is a very good football player in terms of he does have brilliant feet, does have good pace, good vision, but he can't stay fit, and he hasn't played in so long. That is it a player you feel you can trust? For me, no. And anything above £15 million, I would just walk away and actually would walk away laughing at the merest assumption that that's acceptable as a valuation.
There's a reason that Forest are looking at him as the replacement for Callum Hudson-Odoi, and in contrast to Hudson-Odoi, who was a fantastic signing. He was a minimal fee. I think it was a free agent, wasn't it? I think
it might be about £2 million, and he's got about 6 goals, 7 assists, something like that.
Yeah. So that is a very smart signing, homegrown player who has had a ton of injury problems in the past, but you're taking a minimal financial gamble on.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Forest's still paying quite a lot of wages, but that's how you do these kind of deals. If there's an injury prone player, you have to say to the club, look, if no one's going to take him off your hands, we'll give you a smaller fee, but you're not going to have to subsidize any of his contract, anything like that. You're not going to have to give him a fee to leave, but you accept a lower transfer fee. And that's the contrast between how this deal should be from a buying club's point of view and the selling club's demands. So I think while he is a very talented footballer, it's a case of him choosing what to do with his career. I think he's already really messed up by signing the new contract with Arsenal. Mm-hmm. Is it 4 years or is it 2?
Yeah, it's 4 years with an option as well, or at least 3 years with an option. But it has an option on his contract term. Yeah.
If it was, okay. Well, I think it's just if he doesn't get a move away this summer, bigger questions need to be asked. And I think he would add a lot to the West Ham team. But for £20 million, I'd be looking elsewhere. I'd be looking at Wesley. I'd be looking at Jota Silva. I'd be looking at the Championship. I just think that this is a complete and utter non-starter for that sort of money.
Yeah, absolutely. The fact that he rejected not just us but other clubs last season when he could have gone for free and had more football tells me something about his mentality. People may defend him and say that it was he was convinced by the Arsenal project. It's fine. That's opinions. We all have opinions. I personally think
that's what.
Yeah, I personally think it's a weak mentality he's been paid off to stay at Arsenal. You don't pay someone £100,000 for someone a week to play less than 700 minutes unless you are trying to buy their loyalty, and that's what they did. They bought his loyalty, in my opinion. That may sound harsh, but that's how I see it, because he rejected essentially moves that would help his career. He put the money ahead of the career. We said the same about Lingard. Exactly the same. He made a choice based on money, but not based on what was best from him from a footballing standpoint.
Well, let's also not be too disrespectful to let's not play ourselves down, because we were offering Europa League football and the chance to be a part of that squad. So you've got to put into perspective that we were a great potential offer, and on a free
point, absolutely so much.
So it's the fact that he's chosen to be a squad player over a potential starter or push for a starter place at a Europa League side. So I think
a bit like Adeloma Lookman could essentially had an impact like him. Maybe not to that extent, but Lookman is a player that had been bouncing around clubs until Atalanta essentially unleashed him. And for the last 2 seasons, been their best player really at Atalanta. Reiss could have had a similar impact at a club like us or another club had he gone. But using to stay at Arsenal just kind of to be, I wouldn't even say a squad player. He's just more kind of a sporadic. We've got injuries. Do you fancy a little runaround, lad? He just feels it feels a bit like that. And I know that sounds a bit disrespectful, but at the same token, he's painted himself into a corner as well by taking £100,000 a week. Who in their right mind is going to pay that for a player who has played, around about 3,000 minutes over the course of 3 seasons.
West Ham would have 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
Yeah, absolutely. But, to pay that much money for a player, that little football, they're also asking for about 20 odd million. You could pay that amount of money for a starter and someone that you can rely on. I don't think Nelson has got enough of a portfolio to say you can rely on him at that kind of money. It seems like too much of a risk, and you're paying a premium because he's homegrown. So I would personally take a step away from it. At the finances talked about, and probably the wage probably have to be around about 70 to 80 grand a week. I don't think he's going to drop or want to drop too much from his 100 grand. For me, I'd say it's about 4 out of 10 as a deal. I probably would even go lower. Well, I think that would probably be a little bit too harsh. But what are your feelings, Sloth?
I'm going to go 3 out of 10. I'm going to be harsh. I think you reject us. You reject us on a free transfer, and it's not a deal I would do. If I was looking at a homegrown winger, I'd go to Philogene Bides. I'd go to Hull.
Yeah.
Who
We've even got Rowe. Without Norwich not getting promoted again, they're probably going to cost both around 15.
You could even maybe test the water for Somerville and offer £20 million, as a good minimum before add-ons and clauses and things, and see what happens.
And a player that we did a review on yesterday, Reiss, who is at Fluminense, around about 15, 13 million euros as a bid. And he can play both sides, 26, so 2 years older, however, has been playing consistently and been viewed one of the best attacking midfielders, attacking wingers in the Brazilian league. So there are far better deals out there. And I think the only reason you're paying extra is because, one, he's at Arsenal, so they've had Arsenal tax on top. 2, he's homegrown, which also means more money for them in terms of their bottom line because it's just pure profit. And it's just pure greed and delusion as to why he won't sign the contract, in my opinion. If he comes out and says it differently, fair enough. But also greed and delusion from Arsenal to think that he demands that much money. If it was Smith Rowe, I could understand. But for Reiss Nelson, I wouldn't pay any more than 10 million, really, if it was me. But look, guys, we've not been too positive on this one, but it's because we think it's a bad deal and we're going to be honest about it, and not going to dig in too much on the statistical side because kind of what's the point? It's hardly played. It does feel like a bad deal. If he came in at a lower rate, probably could do a job for us, but I don't think it's a deal for us. And I would take a very wide berth. But let's know your thoughts. Do you think it's a good option to go for Reiss Nelson? Do you actually like the idea of a young homegrown player, maybe hungry now to assert himself in the Premier League and to kind of fight for it? But let us know. If you like this video, please do like. If you haven't subscribed, please do subscribe. And everyone, thanks for watching. And until next time,
come on, you irons.